After.
Okay, so, I've been meaning to record a solo video for quite a while now, for the better part of like 2 weeks. Had a lot going on, doesn't matter. Did not expect it to be on today's subject, which is Olivia Rodrigo's new album, Guts. Look, we've had a lot of really good albums come out over the past
6.5 hours later.
3 weeks, 2 weeks, I think. I mean, we had, Zach Bryan's album, we had Turnpike Troubadour's first album that they've released in like 6 years. And both albums are great. I mean, they're absolutely great. They're phenomenal. But I find myself gravitating towards the new Olivia Rodrigo album. I want to say for some reason, but honestly, it's just because it's pure talent. That's really all it equates to. She came out with Sour like 2 years ago, and then she just dropped Guts, I want to say September 8th. And I mean, honestly, 3 times a day I listen to that album. I would say I've listened to the album through and through 3 times a day since it came out. That's how good it is. I mean, she's extremely talented, and I feel bad for the girl, man, because I feel like a lot of people are putting her through the ringer. I've seen a lot of people hate on her on social media, saying that she's trying to be the new Avril Lavigne, or she's trying to copy Paramore, or she's doing this and doing that. Like, dude, you ever heard of influences, man? Like, you ever heard of just somebody being influenced by somebody else? Like, do you have any idea how many musicians sound like other musicians, or how many musicians will release a song that sounds like somebody else's song? Like, there's only so many progressions somebody can come up with, and I would say Olivia's done a very good job at keeping it original. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can hear certain influences like on Sour, right? Good for You, like, okay, yeah, you can mash that up with Misery Business and you can go, all right, I can see how these two coincide. And then you got Taylor Swift getting writing credits for Deja Vu, which absolutely blows my mind. Because, all right, so Cruel Summer is the song that Taylor Swift has. Deja Vu is Olivia Rodrigo, and people are saying that, like, I don't think they sound similar at all. Listen, but I'm not a lawyer. The music industry is extremely complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, and so who knows? But at the end of the day, the girl deserves credits, man. She's an extremely talented artist, especially, and I know I promise you this is not supposed to sound like a backhanded compliment, but especially since she's like a Disney star. She started off on a couple of shows from Disney. I can't remember the exact name of one of them. It's like Bizarrevark, maybe that's what it is. And then I know that she was in the High School Musical, and she did some singing and acting in that. I don't know, I didn't watch it, but I do know that when Sour came out, absolute fucking hit, dude. I mean, great album. Everybody knows, obviously, the most popular song, Driver's License, which more times than I can count I've heard that song. But hey, she deserves it, she deserves all the airtime. Extremely talented. So anyway, Guts came out September 8th. This is essentially just my, I guess, review, maybe. That doesn't seem fair. It's not necessarily a review. It's kind of just song by song what I personally, here we go, just like the Noah Khan video, kind of just what I interpret from each song, and I'll tell you which ones are my favorites, which ones aren't my favorites. All of them are good. I'm not gonna lie, like I don't push the skip button on any of them, but obviously there's some that outweigh others. So just diving right into it. All American Bitch. Um, Fun song. Fun song. Nothing too crazy, nothing too serious. Um, it's kind of just like struggles of trying to maintain a perfect image. I'm like the perfect all American girl with the perfect all American lips and the hips, and like she's constantly in the scene, right? Everybody's always got a camera on her. She's always there. Everybody's always watching her. She's the perfect all American girl. It's almost like a PR thing. It's almost like, to me, it seems almost as if it's like kind of like a slight in a way, kind of like, I'm the perfect all American girl because that's what I'm told to be. But at the end of the day, dude, it seems like she doesn't care. She kind of just wants to be her own person, and I can't blame her. Like, who wants to have to live by somebody else's idea of who you're supposed to be? Like, even if you are owned by a record label, like, that sounds miserable, dude. That sounds miserable. So All American Bitch seems to me as if it's just kind of like a slight at, like, I'm supposed to be this perfect young girl, but I kind of just want to do what I want to do. Which, perfect example, the next song on the list is Bad Idea, right? Super fun song. I mean, it's essentially about a toxic, not relationship, I guess a new term nowadays is situationship, which is what this fits the bill. As far as my understanding, is kind of just like they used to date, now they don't. The whole song is about like going and seeing her ex, and like it's a bad idea, right? Like obviously she knows it's a bad idea, but she wants to go see him. He's fun. He's good at whatever they're doing. Like they got a good time together. And so like the whole song is just like, okay, I know that I shouldn't go do this thing, and she tries to play it off like, what, we can't just be friends, but like obviously more than friends. Next on the list, track 3, Vampire. Great song. Very manipulative, right? So like Vampire seems as if somebody tried to take advantage of her, I suppose. And who knows if it's ever personal or just a good idea, just like you came up with it and decided to write a song about it. But I mean, Vampire very much so is, you're a parasite. Like, you latch on to me, and she calls the person out and calls him a fame fucker. Like, you're a vampire bloodsucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire. Like, I mean, it's very blatant what the song's about. It doesn't even take much explanation. It's a really good song. I mean, just like everything else on here, I could say that over and over again. But I mean, it's very much like, you start to catch on that the person that you're in a relationship with, they're only with you because they're trying to take advantage of you. Or even if it's not a relationship, they're just, you catch on pretty quick that this person's only here for personal gain. And that's shitty, but it's life in the big city. Lacey, track number 4. Lacey is about being jealous almost to an obsessive point of somebody else who has the life that you want, whether it's, like, in this sense, I'm fairly positive that it's like Lacey seems to be the character who is with the guy that she wants to be with. And so it's almost a love song written about the other girl, about how obsessed I am with you and about how much I love you and how perfect you are because I wish I was you, or I wish that I had what you had. Even if it's not like I wish I was you, it's more so just like I wish that I had what you had. She's like, the opening line is like, Lacey, skin like puff pastry. Like, you're just so perfect. You're just what is wanted, and I want to be that. Like, you can't help but be jealous about it. Good song. I'm gonna end every single one of these with like, good song. Track 5, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl. For me, I guess I just take that as like a song about wanting to fit in. Like maybe you're socially awkward, or just it's almost like whatever you do seems to be the wrong thing. Like all you want to do is be validated and fit in, but for some reason every situation you find yourself in just seems to be awkward and just hard to navigate. And I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, can find those find some sort of relation to that song. I mean, it's hard. It's hard relating to people, and hard putting yourself out there and taking that chance. And that seems to be what the song's about. It's just like ballad of a homeschool girl. Like it wasn't socialized much, and maybe I don't know. It's a good one though. It's a good one, just like the rest of them. Making the Bed, one of my personal favorites on the album. Making the Bed is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of a coin of the phrase, made my bed, you gotta sleep in it. And it's just like, you want all these things, right? So like you want the fame and the attention and the love, but you don't really ever think about what comes with that. It's always, everybody always just looks at the surface of everything. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, how sad can she be? How miserable can you be with all this money and all this attention? Like that's a hard thing to put up with, I'm sure. Like obviously I don't know based on, personal experience, but like that's gotta be a very hard thing to deal with. And I think that's what the song is kind of about, is just like making my own bed in whichever way. Like you're just trying to navigate through life, dude. She's a young girl. I think she's like 20. um she's got a couple lines in there about um pushing friends away that care about her, for example, which I mean I've done. I think everybody has probably done, whether they realize it or not. But I mean, it's very easy to become closed off because you start to feel overwhelmed and you start to feel overstimulated. And I can only imagine being in the position that she's in, or being in the position that pretty much anybody's in who is in the spotlight. Like it's got to get overwhelming. Everybody always is just like, oh, how blessed, how lucky are you? And it's like, yeah, to a degree I'm lucky because I can pay the rent, but at the same time I don't have the same luxury to like go out in public without everybody knowing who I am. And like, I think the whole song just kind of has to do with, you think you want something regardless of what it is. I'm not saying that her perspective is, oh, I wish I wasn't famous, but I think in the grand scheme of it is just, you really don't know what you're asking for until you get it, right? Even if you think it's going to be a good thing, you really have no idea until it's presented to you, and until it's like a tangible thing, what exactly you're bargaining for. And there's a lot to it. After that, you got Logical, track 7. Okay, yeah, Logical. This one is essentially about wanting to be with somebody so bad that you have let them ruin you. I mean, like the chorus of it is like, you had me convinced that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And, it's just almost just like, that you probably shouldn't. The whole album seems to deal with toxic relationships and whatnot to a degree, but I mean, Logical is almost a song about being illogical. It's very on the nose of like, I was manipulated into believing that I could trust you and that this was gonna be exactly what I thought it would be, and it turns out it's not. Next, you got Getting Back, toxic relationship. Again, it's like, this one almost feels selfish in a way on her part. This one, because it's talking about, like, you know, even though he has shortcomings, whenever we would get in a fight, like, at least he would take me to Paris, or like he always had something to do. Like, it wasn't a boring relationship, it was just toxic, right? So, like, even though we didn't get along that great, there was always something to do. Like, there would, like, I kind of want him back because without him I'm bored. That's how I take it. I mean, who am I? I'm not some guy who gets paid to diagnose albums. It's just that's how it kind of comes across. That's probably the one song on here that, like, it's good. Like, it's composed well. Like, it's put together. It's a good song, but can't relate. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't, like, rewind it, put it back on. Um, Love is embarrassing. It's kind of just you fell too fast, too strong. Um, I told everybody about you, and now look at me. Like, I've made a fool of myself because I told everybody that you were this wonderful person, and that we were going to be together, and now we're not. It's really good. It's really sad. It sucks. Love's embarrassing. Is a You got to be in a certain place to even come up with a title like that. I feel like good song though. Next we got The Grudge. This song is essentially about being so weak for someone that even though you should let him go, it almost seems impossible to let that person go. And so you just continue to make excuses for them and their actions, and you're almost like fighting the fact that you feel betrayed by them. And you just keep on just like, no, well, this is why this happened, or no, like, you don't understand, like, this is why this happened. Like, it kind of feels like that. It just kind of feels like I said earlier, like a very toxic relationship, like, very obviously we shouldn't be together. Obviously we shouldn't, but I want to be. And if you have been there and you can relate to it, dude, I feel bad for you, because that sucks. That's like a awful place to be. Pretty Isn't Pretty, next song on there. Love this song. Really love the way that it's put together. I pretty much love everything about it. It's pretty much about how hard it can be to accept yourself for who you are, even though everybody else is like telling you how great you are and how wonderful you are. It's almost like, you're uncomfortable in your own skin, and you just kind of don't know how to feel, how everybody else interprets you. And I think pretty much everybody to a degree has felt that way. I don't care how confident you are. I'm sure you've been in a position where you feel less than for some reason. It's like, pretty isn't pretty enough, no matter how much makeup I put on. And maybe I'm completely missing the mark. Maybe it's about, like, pretty is pretty enough. But to me, when I listen to the song, it sounds kind of almost sad almost. It sounds like it has, like a reflection of longing, like, I wish that I was pretty enough. And, everybody else thinks I am, but I don't think that I am. And regardless, though, it's a good song. Teenage Dream. It's probably the heaviest song on the album if you really think about it. I think there's a lot of fear in that song, from a young artist, and somebody who was a child star to a degree. I mean, I don't know her entire origin story. I don't know, like, how old she was when she started acting. But I know that I'm fairly positive that she was, like, around 16 when she was doing the High School Musical thing. Or at least started with it. And I think the song is, Teenage Dream, like, how long, she has several lines where it's like, pretty much, I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't know all the lyrics. I've listened to this album more times than I can count, but still, I'm not perfect. I can't I'm gonna have to paraphrase. So it's pretty much just like, how long is it a cute mistake and not just a mistake? How long is it this? It's always like, how long am I gonna be able to downplay it because I'm just a kid, before it's like, okay, those bad habits have transitioned into adulthood and now there's no excuse for it. Like, how long am I going to be wise for my age instead of just being wise? Or how long am I going to be good for my age instead of just being good? Like, I'm scared I've given you all the best years that I have. Like, it's pretty much exactly that. Like, just questioning how much longer you have until people don't care anymore. And I have to imagine, especially once you get to her position, that's got to be a scary thought, right? It's got to be scary to think you wake up one day and now nobody cares anymore. So anyway, yeah, she came out with Sour. That was her last album. Absolute banger. Great fucking songs. I think we went over this in the beginning of the video, but you had like Driver's License on there, which is the song that everybody knows. Deja Vu, Betrayal, just Good For You. Like, so many good songs. And then now she's dropped Guts. Again, every song on the album good. So I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to seeing how she progresses in her career. I'm absolutely positive she'll just continue to crank out great music. She's very talented. And this has been my review of Guts, if you could call it that. Not exactly super composed, but we don't do anything professional around here. So I don't have red here, but this has been a Just After Midnight special. I don't know. See you later.